Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. This is episode 125, and this is the Oakley Podcast, Trucking Business and Family. On today's episode, I got Mr. Justin Jolly, the terminal manager over at Oklahoma, at Oakley's terminal there in Tulsa, just outside of Tulsa. Going to visit with him a little bit about a few things. We're going to talk about what's going on in Oklahoma, what the future of that terminal looks like, what his needs are right now in terms of truck drivers, where all the loads are doing out of there. I mean, where things are running, and just get a good idea of updating everybody on our Oklahoma terminal. We hadn't done it in a long time. It's been a while since we visited with them and talked about our terminal over in Oklahoma. So going to visit with that. Mr. Scott Cowden's going to chime in once in a while with us, I think. But first, before we get started, let's hear from our sponsor, Aero Truck Sales. Let's listen to one of Oakley's owner-operator experience with Aero Truck Sales.
Called Kenworth off of 440, called Peterbilt, called Freightliner. None of them wanted to work with me. So Jeremy Kellett got me over to Trey Visor. Me and him had a conversation. He sent me to Keith Wilson and never looked back from that point. I was upside down $29,000 and change. They paid off all but $5,000 of my loan on a blown truck. That right there said a lot to me. You know, they were willing to step outside of their comfort zone to get my deal done. I never felt like a customer. It was more like a family feeling. He took care of every aspect of the deal. He was completely transparent. There was no hidden nothing.
So if you're in the market for a used truck, you owe it to yourself to call Keith Wilson at Aero Truck Sales in Springfield, Missouri. Tell him you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. So on today's Oakley update, main thing coming up, we were talking about Driver Appreciation Week, and man, we've been trying to figure out what all we're going to do, and we've about got it narrowed down. But the Driver Appreciation Week is something we don't take lightly around here at Oakley. I mean, this year it's September 11th through the 17th. And, I mean, it's just a week nationwide that recognizes truck drivers. Everybody recognizes truck drivers, whether it's trucking companies or the general public. So that's what we're going to be doing that week. We're looking forward to it. Actually, as far as one thing we're going to do, and I ain't even brought this up yet to you, Jolly, but we're talking about having a food truck here at our terminal here, and thought you could do the same because I know you did it before, feeding guys that come in and on the yard, all truck drivers. So that's a plan that we're going to talk about and do, and I'm pretty sure we're going to do it. We still got to get the approval, but I think we're going to do that. So I think that'll be a good idea. So hopefully that'll do that in Oklahoma too. But so Truck Driver Appreciation Week, September 11th through the 17th. Keep that in mind. All right, man. What's going on in Oklahoma? Now that I've got you come over here to Arkansas, visiting us a couple days,
right.
What's happening back in Oklahoma that's going on?
Well, we've had a few changes. Got a new guy over there now.
Oh, that's right. You got a new dispatcher?
Blake Richardson. He joined us about in April, end of April. So got him dispatching some end dumps. We're actively looking for another dispatcher now.
Oh, really?
So got a few interviews going on last month and trying to find the right guy.
Good. How long we been over there now, Jolly?
Bought the port in February of 14. So it's been 8 years.
Wow. It's gone by quick, hasn't it?
It has.
Well, I remember we bought that just knowing that was going to be a great place because the port already existed, and Oakley bought the port, and then we built a building and started a trucking company.
Yeah.
Of course, we probably talked about it before, but working out of the container when we first got over there with no air and no electricity running by a generator. We did that for a while until you got a building built.
It was special.
It was it was miserable is what it was. But we did that, and now you got a nice new building, new blacktop parking all around. I mean, it's super nice over there. Now got a little driver's lounge where they can clean up and shower and hang out there for guys getting in. So that's super nice too. So we've come a long ways.
Yes, we have. And that's one thing I do want all our owner-operators to know is that we do have the driver's lounge. So some of the guys that don't work out of the Oklahoma terminal may not know that. You know, so anytime that they're in Tulsa and they need a place to stay, it's quiet, you don't have any problems out there, and there is on the back side of the building, you key fob in, your key fob that works over here in Little Rock works over there, and you can come in, get a shower. There's washer and dryer over there. You know, there's not any refreshments. There's a coffee machine in there, but, and a microwave. But, those guys are.
Good point. A lot of people probably forget that that's over there, and if they're in that area, they can.
Yeah, I just had one last week. He said, truck stop was full, and I stayed over here at the truck stop, got a spot, and somebody stole my lights out of the back of my trailer. And I said, why didn't you park over here? Didn't know I could, so... I want the guys to know that.
Yeah, you got plenty of room for parking.
Plenty of space. Yep.
Yeah, good point. So who all you got working in that office? I know you mentioned Blake, the new dispatcher, but who all's working out of that office, and how many trucks?
Seth Atkins is still there. He's running our hopper division. He's got 43 guys that he's dispatching. Kyle Haney's still there, running the end dumps. He's got the same number, 43, and so currently we're running 117 trucks out of there.
And Blake's got so many too.
He's got 31.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
we had some changes that happened. We had to shuffle, do some shuffling around. So, but that's why we're looking to hire another fleet manager, because we want to get back, grow again to what we were. So,
yeah. Yeah, that's right, because we were up to
100.
Close to 140.
147, almost 150.
Yeah. And then we made some changes we didn't lose guys, we just moved them.
Right.
Yeah, so that's good. So, get things organized a little bit. And I guess coming out of that office, y'all do everything just like we do over here in North Little Rock, right?
Right.
I mean, as far as the freight and where it goes and what you do and communicating with them, anything special that you do over there that we don't out of North Little Rock Terminal?
We do some local barge work off of out of Port 33 that'll go over towards Pryor, Oklahoma. We got some barge work down in Muskogee that's local work, stays right there in Muskogee. Different times of the year, like now, we'll start hauling some rock salt to various locations in Arkansas for the highway department. And then we probably do a little bit more fertilizer and grain coming in and out of that port. So yeah, we've got some work that we pretty much handle in-house over there, and then what we don't have for the trucks, we'll work out of the same system we're working in Little Rock with the same freight.
Lease on with Oakley Trucking, America's dry bulk hauler. Our owner-operators are the top paid in the country, and we will prove it to you. We offer steady year-round freight as well as a yearly annual bonus that increases each year you are leased to us. Oakley has multiple divisions, end dumps, hopper bottoms, and pneumatics, so we are sure to have something that works for your schedule and home time. Check us out on YouTube as well as our weekly podcast, or give us a call today and see why Oakley Trucking is everything you have been looking for. So y'all kind of got, it sounds like you got your own customers over there that you try to take care of. You got a core
Yes.
in that area that
Right.
you try to handle and take care of, and then what's left, you got plenty of other stuff to do, of course, I know. How do you communicate with these guys in North Little Rock?
Telephone, we'll call, or we'll use Microsoft Teams, for a lot of it with a chat feature, and so we don't have any issues as far as the communication back and forth, so
Because you are looking at the same.
We're looking at the same load board or the same loads and the same system that they're looking at. So, if we have a truck hung out somewhere and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with him, then we're bouncing ideas off guys in here to try to figure out what we can do, or we're calling our own customers. So, but the communication back and forth between the offices is not really an issue.
That's good.
We do a good job communicating and everybody knowing what's going on. So
yeah, because a lot of people kind of get concerned about that when we tell them, you're going to be dispatched out of the Oklahoma terminal.
Right.
Well, it's just a disconnect, they think.
Yeah.
Automatically, if they're not dispatched out of North Little Rock, then oh my, what's going on over here, and then it doesn't take them long to realize that you got some seniority over there with you and Kyle and even Seth now.
Yeah.
That things are handled real well, and the freight. I think that was one of our main goals when we moved over there, was create that core of freight that you had to handle and take care of every day.
Mm-hmm.
Is this creating? Is there some opportunity there for us to get some local guys? You can get home every couple nights. Is there any of that stuff? I know there is in Muskogee
Right.
that we've done since day one over there, but is there other stuff? We've talked about this before, of getting some local guys coming in and out of there. So is that an option?
I think we could. Tulsa is a good area for us to hire in. It's easy to get the guys home there. Anywhere that they live within, 30 miles of the port, is or 50, so. But the barge work, that's happening, I'd say at least 2 to 3 weeks out of the month. There'll be 2 or 3 days worth of it, so during that week. So, when those guys are working that, if they live, specifically there in Tulsa, then, they're able to go home that night and then come back the next day and work the barge too. So we've done a pretty good job, of getting those guys even home during the week that live pretty close to there. So there's definitely some opportunity and that's on the end-up side. That would be beneficial. And then on the hopper side, we just we can do the same thing when we can get the fertilizer and grain going, and that's seasonal, So it's going to start here in probably the next month. They'll start doing some fall fields and so there'll be some opportunity there to keep some guys pretty close.
Do some in and out, grain in, fertilize out.
Just that was kind of our when we got over there, that in 14 and we were doing all that, we saw that opportunity to do the grain in and the fertilizer out, and we did that for a long time. And the last, I would say the last 3 years, it's just been the fertilizers just moved different, but it's coming back around. We had the flood in 19, then you had the crazy 20, and then 21. It just different. It's just been different the last 3 years, but it's going to get back to normalcy.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of product moved out of that area. A bunch out of that.
There is.
Out of that port, because for people that don't know, that port is huge. We just got, the trucking is a very small part of it. Mm-hmm. That is a huge port that does a lot of different stuff.
Right.
That is not even associated with Oakley Trucking, but it's owned by Bruce Oakley Incorporated.
Yeah, and there's some pig iron that moves out of that port, and we've got a dedicated lane on that we do now, that we've had from the beginning. It's just a one truck type operation, but we've got a guy on it. But there's some pig iron that moves out of there that we haven't had an opportunity really to get more guys in there to do that. So there's some industrial products. So we're not just tied to grain fertilizer, is what I was saying, is that there's some industrial product that moves out of there and Muskogee. So it's not just all ag-based material.
Well, I was going to ask you about the customer base around that area, and in all Oklahoma there. Is that increasing? I know it has since we've moved over there, but is the is there a lot of opportunity there? A lot of the customer base, and is it growing for us?
I think so. I mean, we had some existing customers already when we moved over there, but we've grown those existing customers where we weren't doing as much in the past. We've seen our freight with those customers increase because we're present and they know that we're there. So we've seen that. There's still opportunity that's going to come with those same customers that we've established. That we're going to start seeing some increases out of them. So, there's some local work down in Baton Rouge that we do for a particular customer, and they're also in Oklahoma. So we've seen, that's an example of a customer that we had. We've done work with them for many years, but we've seen our growth with that particular customer out of Oklahoma, out of the Enid area. So, so they're reaching out. We have continued to grow with them over the last, 8 years since we've been there. But I think it's just having a presence there, and then, you get in and start doing a good job for them, and then you just start seeing opportunities arise out of that. But it's got to start somewhere, right? So, that's kind of what we've seen that's happened over the last, like I said, since we've been there. It's kind of small, and then those existing customers, like some of the scrap customers, we're hauling more for them today than what we were when we got up there, so.
Let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, Loop Zone. You've been hearing me talk about Loop Zone for a couple of years now. Well, now it's time you hear from one of our owner-operators. Listen to Mike Durbin talk about his experience with Loop Zone.
The price is great. The service is great. But from the time when I pulled in the door to the time I pulled out was less than an hour. Best I've ever had as far as an owner-operator, had my oil changed. Checked the oil. They showed me the oil. They did all the torquing on the wrenches. Showed me my rear end oil on the paper, and they did their job. It was very nice to go somewhere, get what you wanted done, and go. I was very pleased with it. And like I said, very satisfied. I will go out of my way from now on to go there.
Check out loopzone.com for all their services and all their locations, and tell them you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. So by that getting better over there, I think that's what our listeners and our owner-operators want to hear, is that there's potential still over there. Even though we've been there going on 8 years, I mean, there is potential for a lot more to do over there. So,
absolutely. The grain and fertilizer, just that alone, we couldn't haul all of it. We don't have enough trucks, So, I mean, if you look at just that aspect of it there, when it's in season and it's going, they're doing 300 to 400 shipments a day that's coming in and out of that port, So there's just that opportunity alone, it could grow really big.
So where do you need trucks? Where would be an ideal spot for these guys, owner-operators, if they want to come to Oakley, or if they're already over here in another division? Where's a ideal spot for them to live, to maybe for us, or who are you looking for? What's the ideal truck driver, owner-operator that you look for?
Well, some of our spots are still the same. You got Oklahoma City, anywhere across I-40 between Oklahoma City and Fort Smith has always been a good area for us. Anywhere on 44 to, Tulsa and northwest Arkansas, Joplin, Enid, those have always been really good spots for us, and that's not going to change. Guy gets hired on there, it's a good area for us, either side of the house, whether it's hoppers or end dumps. As far as new areas that I would like to see us expand to is Kansas City. I think we've got some opportunity out of Kansas City that I don't think we've. We already have some existing lanes that are going up there. But I don't think we've had enough. We've had guys throughout the years, so we get that freight going up there, and then you don't have the guys anymore, so you see it kind of drop off a little bit because you're not actively trying to get those guys home, but I think Kansas City, anywhere in that area within that Missouri-Kansas side of that, would be a really good area for us to start looking to expand.
Yeah.
So, and then, even if you go out of Kansas City towards St. Louis, anywhere across there too,
there's a lot of, there is dump too, but there's a lot of hopper freight up at as you get on up farther north, isn't it, up in that area?
There is a large fertilizer terminal in Iowa around, they call it Port Neal, and we have maybe shipped 3 loads out of there. But it's a large fertilizer.
But have the opportunity to.
We could, once you get in there and figure out who's actually shipping, But we haven't even scratched the surface of that area yet, I don't think. And there's a tremendous amount of ag-based product in Nebraska, North Kansas, north of I-70, Iowa. We've had guys that have lived in Iowa over the years, and we did pretty good. But so we could definitely expand north out of there.
Which was actually part of the next question I was going to ask you about the future of Port 33 out there with just specifically the Oakley terminal. What's the next 5 years look like?
Well, the next 1 month is get another guy. Get a good guy that wants to come in and work, and understand what we do, and then, 5 years from now, I would like to see us closer to, I'm going to say 300, but, I'd like to see us get another guy hired, get back up to the 150 trucks. That's the immediate future. Right. And then, once we get that established, then go out and get another guy, and try to grow it from there. So, that takes time. You got to get them trained and get them to understand what we're doing. But, I'd like to see us in the 200 trucks, within 5 years.
Definitely. I think that's very possible.
Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards that 300 like you are, getting it done, because the potential's there.
I think, there's a lot of guys in Oklahoma. You go travel 44 and I-40, and, it is just full of guys out there working, So, I think there's some – I think we could, we had said at one point in time that we felt like it could be a 500 truck terminal, but, I'd like to get there.
I would too. Yeah. Well, we're
that one's all on you.
Yeah, I know. Recruiting department, got to have some trucks. I know it. Well, we're trying.
Yeah.
So we'll get there at some point. We just got to keep it going.
The things that could help us also is, for the guys that are out there listening, recruiting cards, big thing for us. We want to get those in. We want those contacts because we know that guy has a CDL. That's the first thing, and we know he may have a plan of being an owner operator, or he may already be one. So that would help us tremendously out of that area. To try to keep getting the word out.
Well, and another thing to touch on the opposite side of that, I know you guys' turnover is pretty low over there. How do y'all, handle the retention part?
We want to get them in. If a guy has it starts by, having good communication back and forth. We want to work with the guy, make sure we're getting him home when he needs to be home, make sure he's making the money that, he's expecting to make. And then if any issues come up or, things that he needs to discuss, then, we're getting him in the office and we're going to sit down and, try to figure out what we need to do better. How can we improve? And, and that's really our, how we want to handle things. So we don't want the guy out there just so frustrated that he just doesn't know what to do,
Right.
So we want if something comes up, please call us, and let's talk about it. And, if it's something that's, we don't want that stemming over and it just start piling on top of itself. And then
that doesn't happen at all, does it?
No, never.
Especially with grown men.
No,
it's
just
we
flawless.
we seem to chalk it up. There's one time, and then we start looking. There's another time, and there's another time. And then
right.
I've told that before that we're our own worst enemy sometimes. When something happens, and we keep it to ourselves, or we start telling our spouse or our friend, and we're not communicating that to the person we need to.
Right.
Which is dispatch or operation managers. You got to have that. You got to have that talk to get it out there.
Yeah, yeah. And most things can be solved with good communication.
Yeah.
Let's sit down, let's figure out what's going on and how we can fix it, and it may be on both sides of the table. It may not all be, the fleet managers don't do this. It could be both ways, but we want to fix whatever it is, because the goal here is that we all are in this business to be profitable. So they've got a truck, they need to be profitable. We've got a trailer, we need to be profitable. So that's the goal. And we want to work through that and understand everybody's needs in that process.
Yeah, anytime you have a partnership, it's hard to make it work.
Yes.
But it takes a great deal of communication.
Yes. Like
you said. So that's something that, and we always preach, even the dispatch, you're talking about the fleet manager on their side too. I mean, that we tell them, if you got a problem with a truck driver, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to tell him, communicate it with him. And sometimes we don't. We sometimes we try to, ignore it and hope it goes away, but typically it doesn't. It just gains momentum until it heads up. So, well, good stuff, man. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, nothing I can think of right now.
I appreciate Calvin chiming in.
Yeah, he did a great job, didn't he?
Yeah.
Communication begins with listening. That's all I'm going to tell you. Just listening. I do a good job at that.
You've been doing good.
I've
this time.
enjoyed this. Has been really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Good stuff.
No, I like the driver appreciation. I hope we can get that done. Great thing about Port 33, we already have a food truck.
Yeah.
So it's easy.
So I will say
like
one
that.
thing on that, the Driver Appreciation Week. We're going to be at Ozark at the Hillbilly Truck Stop.
That's right.
I think Wednesday morning and Thursday morning for a breakfast from like 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. Breakfast will be on us. We're going to be there. And then we've got a group of guys also going to Louisiana, down to our reserve terminal. We'll be down there. Not sure if we're going to be doing a breakfast down there. The last time we were down there, we were at Cash's Truck Stop in Baton Rouge. We might be back there again. So we will be in those two places that week. If you're at one of those, coming by there, stop in. Breakfast is on us.
Workman's.
I said Hillbilly Truck Stop.
But it's Workman's there just west of Ozark, Arkansas.
Yes.
Exit
And
35.
And that's
Is it 35?
You said Wednesday and Thursday?
Wednesday and Thursday is
Thursday
the plan
morning,
right
we're buying breakfast for every truck driver that rolls in there.
6 a.m. till noon. Come
like it.
Come eat with us.
I like it.
Noon breakfast.
And there'll be more information coming out. You guys check us out on social media and everything. We'll make sure we get the word out and the details and everybody knows. So,
Yep.
Anything else? Good?
I'm good.
I appreciate you guys hanging out and discussing some of this detail. I mean, it's good for owner-operators to hear. So.
You bet.
And if any of you guys are interested in joining the team out there in Oklahoma, be sure and call the recruiting department. Tell us that you're interested and want more information out there. We'll hook you up with Justin and can talk to him direct if you want to, and see if we can meet your needs out there. Thanks again for listening to the Oakley Podcast. We sure do appreciate it every week and appreciate your feedback you guys give us. Be sure to check us out on YouTube also. You can watch. You can actually look at us on the YouTube if you want to and check out. We got a bunch of other videos on there that can answer a lot of questions about a lot of different subjects here at Oakley. So be sure and check us out, the Oakley Podcast, and we appreciate it. Talk to you next week.